Okay. What are we going to prepare today? We are going to prepare pap.
Yes.
But they call it in the Fulani language kunu. Okay. How do we prepare pap? What do we need to prepare pap? Kum, which is fufu corn, komori, korori, fufu corn.
Yes.
And we need water,
Yes.
boiling water. All right. And then we need how do we get to this noodles? Okay. So to do the noodles, you use a little bit of fufu, you put a little bit of water inside, and you start mixing. Go ahead.
Put water.
You put water.
Yes.
Just a bit of water so that we can form the noodles that we'll use to make the kunu.
Yes, the kunu.
You have to be very artistic in the way you do it, the way you roll your fingers.
Yes.
Because the way you roll your fingers, that's when you see the small knots. The small knots come out.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't take long to do that, but the issue is struggling to get the knots all very round and in a way that it will be easy. It will be easy to swallow because it feels good in the mouth. You really feel good eating it, but you have to be very careful that everything becomes uniform. She's actually blowing the fire to make sure that the water heats up, because before we put in the noodles, we have to make sure that the water is boiling. When I said Ndawara was a land of milk and honey, you understand that Ndawara is also a land of kunu, which means pap, all right, and the land of tea. Okay, and talking about tea, we'll be joining Elizabeth Achu, who is standing on one of the sections of the Ndawara tea estate. She'll be taking us, or she'll be teaching us, or she'll be giving us information about tea cultivation in Ndawara. You want to understand also that the story of Ndawara tea plantation or tea estate started in 2003, and today Ndawara tea estate has grown to be the largest in Cameroon. But that's not what we'll be talking about now. We'll be talking about tea cultivation. So let's join Elizabeth Achu. We'll be coming back to the kitchen after that.
We are welcoming Cameroonians to the Ndawara tea estate. This 2,000-hectare tea estate is the largest in Cameroon, and close to 1,500 people work there. We know that in agriculture, the yield depends on what was planted, the quality of what was planted. And as such, I would like us to move together so that we go to the nursery and see what is there. We are now at the nursery. And from here, these seedlings, they are taken to the farms, either for refilling, either for infilling to replace the plants that are dead, or for extension into areas that have not yet been exploited. So at this juncture, we will invite the plantation manager, who is Mr. Christopher, to come and tell us more about this nursery. You're welcome. Yeah, we would like to know from you, how do you get the seeds to plant or to nurse?
Well, formerly tea was planted from seed. But now, because of genetic mutation, we are now planting we're using the vegetative propagation method, where we get a single cutting, and from a single cutting we are capable of producing a tea bush, which resembles the parent completely, which resembles the parent in toto.
Is it just the same one type, or you have various varieties that you nurse?
Yes, we have more than 12 different varieties of teas which we have planted on Ndawara. We call them clones. We have more than 12 different clones, which are selected because of the taste, the color, the aroma, and the weight of the tea. Those are criteria we use in order to choose what type of tea to plant on Ndawara.
After nursing, what do you do? What are the steps you take to maintain the nursery?
Well, once we have our cutting, we prepare a very good soil medium of topsoil and subsoil. We look at what chemical element or what nutritional element is lacking. We augment it. We can now plant our tea. We introduce our tea into the soil medium. We give it a greenhouse effect by covering it under the cloches, and it will last there for 3 to 4 months. There it will develop root hairs, and also what the dormant bud will spring to life, and it will produce a whole tea plant.
What do you mean by greenhouse effect?
We want our tea, our cutting is tender. It cannot live in the natural environment. So we give it a microclimate, an environment which does not have the climate of the outside environment. That's why we call it a small greenhouse, a small cruise. So we give it its own particular climate, and it will live there for 4 months before we start introducing it to the ambient climate.
How do you transport them to the various areas where you want to plant?
Yeah.